Right, well, let's get started. So, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for coming. Hope you've all had an interesting day so far. Just give me a shout if you can't hear me at any point. Just give me a wave. My name's Krista Woodley. I'm a learning consultant at Kineo, and I'm joined by my colleagues, Tom Dufflin from the platforms team, and Gretchen Ahler, who is a project engineer. Thank you. At Caterpillar Marine. So, today I'm going to talk about the context where the need for this training solution arose and what kind of platform and training did Caterpillar Marine need. Tom's going to talk us through what the solution looked like, and then Gretchen is going to talk about launching it within the business and how it's gone down with learners and sales directors. So for anyone who doesn't know about Caterpillar Marine, they are one of the leading providers of engines and generators, propulsion systems in the marine industry, and Gretchen will tell us a bit more about them later. The context for this training was really about the speed of change that was happening for Caterpillar Marine. So as a company, they'd had 5 years of quite heavy investment in R&D, new products and acquisitions. For example, just before we started working with them, they'd acquired an organisation with a wide range of propulsion equipment. So all of this kind of speed of change within the organisation had massively increased their portfolio and therefore the opportunities that they had for selling end-to-end solutions. And obviously that had opened up a lot of new potential customers for them. Equally, outside the organisation, there was a lot of fast-paced change in the marine industry. So there was a lot of technological change in the marine industry, a lot of fast-paced change in environmental regulations, and also a lot of geopolitical change in different regions. Obviously, that meant that people in different regions needed different kinds of equipment and products. So these changes obviously meant that Caterpillar Marine needed a kind of cultural shift in how their sales force were approaching selling to customers. Traditionally, they'd had a sort of product-based technical approach to selling, and they wanted to move and needed to move towards a more customer-focused, consultative way of selling. Their kind of stated aim for this was to help their salespeople understand each customer's unique situation and then to be able to recommend a solution based on the benefits to the customer. So all of this meant that Caterpillar Marine needed a solution that was agile and adjustable to be able to match and to keep matching that change as it continued. So we began the project with a period of collaborative consultancy with Caterpillar Marine. We did some qualitative and quantitative research within the organisation. We surveyed learners and managers, and we did phone interviews with managers and sales directors. And what the results showed us was that what Caterpillar Marine really needed was one central global platform for all of the different markets, for the different segments. And by segments, we're talking about tug, pleasure craft, fishing, the different kind of industry sectors. And they also needed a platform that met the needs of a range of audience, an audience with a really wide range of experience and knowledge. In addition to that, the solution needed to be very flexible, as I've said, and easy to update. So we identified the need for Kineo to support Caterpillar Marine in capability building to help make them self-sufficient so that they could maintain and update the platform and the assets and create new ones. So obviously when we were coming to design the solution, we started by looking in a lot of detail at the audience. And slightly unusually, a really large proportion of the audience of the sales force are external. 85% of them are based in dealerships, not within Caterpillar Marine, the organisation. Which meant that Caterpillar Marine as an organisation, aren't able to mandate the training. So we knew that there was a challenge there to make sure that the platform and the training were as engaging and appealing as possible. So to use the carrot and not the stick, and to ensure that people were coming back so that they had the updated information to keep pace with that change that I was talking about. We also knew from talking to the learners that they had a really strong preference for using learning on their mobiles and their tablets as well as on the desktop. So we wanted to make sure that that was mobile friendly. We also knew from talking to sales directors that it was really important to Caterpillar Marine to use the platform to gather data on the capability of the sales force. So they wanted to be able to identify, for example, where there was a need for more training and what subject that training needed to be on, but also to identify strengths in different areas so that they could leverage that strength of information to input into the training itself. So this is the homepage of the platform, and Tom's going to talk a bit more about it in a second. But a quick overview is that it is, as I said, the first time that Caterpillar Marine has had a single platform for all of the sales force, no matter where they are and whether they're internal or external. The content's been organised into those segments that I talked about, rather than in terms of product families. And again, Gretchen is going to talk a bit more about that later. The platform has a really wide range of different resources on it. So it's got data sheets, it's got assessments, it's got an offline player so that you can use those resources when you don't have connection. It's got a curation tool, and it's got podcasts. And I'll just hand over to Tom, and he can tell you a bit more about that in more detail.
Thanks, Krista. Swap places. So yeah, my name's Tom DeFellin. I'm the platforms consultant that worked with... Sorry, is this too loud, am I? I'm the platforms consultant that worked with Caterpillar to build this platform. So I'm going to talk you through a few key features and a few things that we use, a few tools that we use to help kind of make this a capability building hub that we were aiming to do. So the platform itself is called the Cat Marine Capability Building Hub. The way we designed it was to have everything accessible from the front page. So as Krista mentioned, Cat Marine have several different segments of their marine business. And what we wanted was for a salesperson to be able to log onto this, quickly select the sales segment that they want to gain more experience or have some learning in, click onto that segment, and then see all the relevant learning as well as additional information that is coming through. So you can see on the left, this is what the learner sees. So they've got a really obvious sort of tile-based pattern here where they can select the segment they want to go on. They'll click on a segment, and then they'll go through into a Totara course page. And once they're on the course page, they see all of the appropriate learning. They can add more, or Caterpillar are adding more learning as we go. They can leave feedback. They can take a quiz. So they get that really sort of nice interactive feel. Now, the system we've used to build this on is Totara. Specifically, we've used Kineo's Totara SaaS offering, which is our cloud-based solution. So all of these features that you're going to see now are all standard with our SaaS-based platform, our SaaS platform, and it's just built out from there. So as you can see as well, we branded it very much to look like Caterpillar Marine. So they've got a really nice, slick, easy branding here, and it's very obvious that this is a CAT website. And that's very key because, as Krista said, those dealers are not necessarily CAT staff. So one of the key bits we have, or kind of key features we have in the system here, is the data sheets. So initially, we've made one data sheet for each segment. These are adapt data sheets, really nice customer-focused interactive data sheets that contain a series of questions, sort of interactive pieces and videos. We have also supplied and trained Caterpillar how to use the adapt authoring tool. So this means Caterpillar are able to edit their own data sheets, and they're able to build their own data sheets as well from scratch. This is really key because, as Greta knows all too well, the marine industry is moving incredibly quickly. So they're needing to constantly update their data sheets. They're needing to constantly update their information to keep it on trend with current trends in the marine industry. So that's the e-learning. So we have quizzes in this. We have quizzes built into the learning management system, so they don't actually sit within the e-learning. We use Totara's quiz functionality, which is built on standard Moodle quiz functionality. This gives us a really rich ability to build as many different types of questions as we like. And the output for this is that Cat Marine have made a central pool of questions for each of their segments. And from this central pool, questions are pulled randomly into a quiz for each learner for each segment. So what this means in reality is a learner sees a different quiz each time they take a quiz. They see different questions in a different order. And this creates actually quite a difficult assessment, and one that can't be done once, have the right answers checked, and then do it again to make sure you pass. So we specifically guarded against that to make sure all of the assessments here are robust and actually assessing what people are learning in the data sheets and in the conferences they attend and everything else. So that's working really well, and Cat are now able to add their new quizzes to that question bank, which then pull in randomly into the quizzes. So we also have a curation tool. Krista briefly mentioned this. This is a Kineo specific plugin, something we've created for our SaaS platform. We use a company called Anders Pink. So Anders Pink is an external company, and we integrate Totara with that via an API. So what happens is Greta from Cat Marine can go into Anders Pink and define a series of parameters which can basically tell the system what type of articles it's going to pull in, so from what type of publications, with what type of keywords. Once those parameters are defined, then for each segment, articles are pulled in and then updated every 4 hours. So what this means in essence is that a user is able to log in and see the 5 most popular articles on the specific segment that they're looking at. And that then changes based on how often the articles are seen online, and therefore gives the user a constantly changing view of the page, constantly gives them fresh materials to go on and read. So they're able to get that fresh feeling constantly. There's also plans in the future for users to be able to comment on individual articles, share articles potentially, all of which can happen within the Anders Pink tool. The way the system is laid out, each individual segment has its own list of articles, and then the Capability Hub also has a central pool of articles where users can go in and see the latest articles based on the general marine news or potentially regional news as well, depending on where they're based in the world. So that's a really nice little feature. We have some cool little social features in this as well. We have the leaderboards, which are based just using standard Moodle grades based on the quiz. That creates a leaderboard, which then really creates competition within Totara, within the Capability Hub, something that is proving very, very successful at the moment. Users can compete globally, and then they can also compete regionally, so they can go in and see how they're doing in their region sales-wise. And everything is set up for them also to compete within dealerships, or dealerships to compete with one another, which could be a step that we move towards in the future. The site also makes really good use of forums. And actually, in preparation for this presentation, I had a good old trawl through the Capability Hub, because having built it, I hadn't gone back and revisited it in a couple of months. And one of the things that really struck me is quite how much these sales staff had engaged with these forums. You have people going onto a forum, all within the LMS, explaining a problem, uploading a photograph of the problem onto the forum, another dealership, other sales staff from other dealerships explaining how that problem was solved, uploading photographs of things that they've done to solve it, and then Caterpillar themselves getting involved and looking to try and create a centralized solution, all out of these forums within this Capability Hub. And it just seems like that is potentially a medium of communication that these dealerships haven't had before. And so it's really heartening to see people using it in such an engaging way. And again, all part of standard Totara functionality there. One of the things we offer with our SaaS platform is we offer integration with the Moodle mobile app. So in Cat's instance, we have branded up a version of the Moodle mobile app to have the Caterpillar branding. This means that Cat sales staff, who obviously travel a lot and are often on a dealership floor as opposed to actually being sat by a desk like most of us probably are able to access their learning either when they don't have any clients or maybe when they're sat on an aeroplane or something. They can download a data sheet, do their learning, learn more about their job, all in a nice, easy environment. All offline as well. The app itself is really easy to use. It's just simply a list of courses, so you can go in and select their learning and complete it. And crucially, it also sends out push notifications. So the aforementioned forums, if somebody has a question answered, that's coming to their mobile, and they're seeing that somebody's answered that question, and they're getting that response. Yeah, I think it's great. A couple more things. So podcasts. So Kineo did a nice bit of consultation with Cat, where we actually went over and recorded a podcast with them. That went really well, has gone down really well. And I've been hearing today how Cat are now recording their own podcasts, not only at their base in Hamburg, they've been recording them at a marine conference in Vietnam as well, actually out in the conferences and doing podcasts from there, all of which are getting uploaded to the capability hub here and seemingly going down really well. So again, that's something that Cat have really taken on the initiative for and are really embracing. And then it ties back into that leaderboards that you've seen. So those sales staff who choose to compete in those podcasts will then be able to come back and compete within those leaderboards, just increasing that competition. Finally, we can take a look at what we're holding in the future. So if anyone's familiar with Totara, you'll know that they have a dashboard, so almost like blank pages, which you can set loads of different functionality on. So we're kind of increasing the amount of dashboards and creating more dashboards for specific reasons. We've decided we need some general products dashboards because Cat have some products that don't necessarily fit into individual segments. So we can have a product dashboard that just has learning about specific products. We have dashboards for specific conferences, so all the learning that's tied into a specific conference, which can be switched on and off at will based on when that conference is coming. And maybe something like emissions, big sort of news articles, big current trends in the marine industry can warrant their own dashboard where users can go in and find all the information they want on that. So that's what Cat are working on the future. Kineo are also working on the future, obviously, alongside that. And we're working on just constantly making sure this SaaS offering is upgraded. So anyone on our SaaS network will get a free upgrade once a year. That upgrade goes to the latest version of Totara. So we're actually currently upgrading it to Totara 11 on Thursday. It's a project I have a massive hand in, and me being here probably isn't too good for the project. So that's going to offer our users on the SaaS platform really easy administration actions to make managing GDPR incredibly easy. So everything that GDPR makes you do has become incredibly easy in the latest version of Totara. So they'll be getting that in Totara 11 and then subsequently upgraded for the latest version of Totara year on year. Kineo also write our own plugins, such as the Anders Pink app and Anders Pink integration. And we have a product board and we discuss which one of our plugins we want to put, or which bunch of our plugins we want to put into the network each year. And so we also offer sort of an internal upgrade as well. So Cat will be benefiting from that soon too. So that's it from me. Thank you very much. I'm going to hand over to Greta, and Greta will be able to tell us a bit about how this has actually gone down within Caterpillar.
Thank you. I hope this is loud enough as well. So I'm not sure what you know about Caterpillar. You might have seen one of our products around the world. So we build machines, actually. This is what we are. We build reliable machines. There are 3 million plus CAT products around the world. And if you look at these machines and the engines that we also produce, you know exactly, there is no other way how our training looks like. It is product-based. So we used to have instructor-led courses. We still have them, and they are mandatory as well. They are required as well because our service engineers need to understand how an engine works. They need to be able to assemble it or disassemble it. And for our salespeople, we had PowerPoints. They were normally written by engineers, which makes them a little hard to read. There is too much text in there, and this was actually a thing that we had with Kineo as well, because the expert always said, no, there is too much text. You have to reduce the size, but it is difficult for us. So if we talk about Cat Marine, we do have, of course, our specific products for the marine industry. So we have propulsion engines, we have generators, we have monitoring systems, we have propellers. And we have found out in the last couple of years that our customers tend to buy bigger packages from one supplier. That makes their life much easier. So they don't have to interface with a lot of different suppliers. They only contact one, and they get all they need. In order to help them, or in order to provide better service, we bought companies and to extend our scope of supply. It was not so much our core business, but we just bought more to offer a complete bunch of flowers, if you will. And also we've learned that we can more or less split our customers in 10 segments, as Krista and Tom have already mentioned. So we have cargo customers, container ships belong to cargo, for example. We have cruise vessels, dredgers, ferries, fishing, government, inland waterway, so these push boats in America, for example. We have offshore vessels, pleasure craft, and tug and salvage. All of these customers have completely different requirements. So a tug customer, for example, a tugboat is idling all day and until he gets a request, and then he needs to go fast to the container vessel he has to pull. Or a container ship, for example, has a single engine and a propeller, and they are normally interested in a good fuel consumption. A pleasure craft customer is not interested in fuel consumption at all. He is interested in speed and immediate response. So whenever something fails, he wants immediate response from the dealership. Keeping this in mind, and the sales people that we added due to our acquisitions, who were specialized in their products and who were experts in their sort of playground, we figured out that we had to change our learning approach, because the purely product-based learning does not suit us well anymore. And this is actually why we are here. So when we introduced the Cat Marine Capability Hub, the first response from our colleagues was, oh no, not another required learning, because you might be aware, or you might know these required learnings that companies like Caterpillar use for example, compliance or legal issues, where you have to read through an awful lot of text. It takes you, 30 minutes, 45 minutes until you reach the quizzes. And then you have to go through 10 questions, and you either fail or you pass. If you are lucky, you can skip the text and you just proceed to the questions. Mainly you can't. So you have to spend this hour on this boring required learning. So that was what our colleagues were afraid of. Oh no, please not. But the reality, thank God, looked completely different. And by the way, we are very proud of having the Capability Hub because it is brilliant. So the feedback has been universally positive. The colleagues talked about improved knowledge and expertise, and they were quite happy that everything was tailored. So we, as Tom already mentioned, we have the same structure in every segment page. So we start with a short description. This is actually this segment. And then we go over to market trends. This is going to happen. And then we talk about customers. We have 3 kinds of customers, and we specifically tell our salespeople what they are fond of, how they earn money. And then we go over to competition. We explain specifically for this segment as well what kind of competition we have and how strong they are. Then we go over to our own products, how they fit into this segment, which products you can actually sell into this segment. We have also a success story because we think it's important to have a good mood and to make everyone keen on going out and sell. And we finish with key selling points and a summary, of course. Our colleagues also were very attracted to the Underspink plugin because it changes and there's every time something new, every time there's a new update, and they don't have to look through the internet anymore because they just find the information there. The next statement seems to be a bit odd, but so to say that we identified our salespeople and know who and how good they are, but you have to keep in mind that we have approximately 400 salespeople, external ones and also internal salespeople that are everywhere on the globe, and and they have, of course, different levels as well. They are comfortable with propulsion equipment, they are comfortable with engines, but not so much with everything. So we have to get them on the same level, and this is the first thing that we want to do. We want to get everyone on the same level, on a good level, and then we want to advance this. We want to dive deeper into the segments. We want to specifically talk about a problem, a solution, a ship type, and based on this feedback that we receive, we are going to work on that. We use this on we have started to use this on conferences as well. We made it mandatory for all participants to at least, to participate in 3 data sheets, to read through 3 data sheets, and to pass the quizzes. Otherwise, they weren't allowed to go to the conference. And within the conference, we did a before and after test. So we asked the same questions before a course and after the course to actually measure the level immediately. That was quite a success, actually. And another feedback, or positive feedback, says that we have a central place for information, as you mentioned also. Before that, we had different homepages and different spots everywhere where you could find bits and pieces, but not everything in one place. This is very interesting, I think, because there's a lot of competition. And as I said, people were quite afraid when they started with a capability hub, but now they seem to be in a race. So people call me and my colleagues to say, I want to be better then. How can I improve? We need more information actually to get better. And when do we get more courses? And we tend to say, well, you can do the courses or the quizzes as often as you want. And if you reach 100%, then yeah, positive. But yeah, it's really good. And then yes, and we are feeding more courses in. And then now we have listed some course feedback for the specific segments. I'm not going to read through all of this. We just highlighted bits and pieces, 1 sentence here and 1 sentence there. And for the tack and salvage segment, the customer said, the client said, so that they were afraid it would be boring, but it's not. So this gives me the impression that the initial fear of having the required learning type style of learning does not exist anymore. For the fishing segment, it's a bit negative, but for us it's very good because now we know where we have to dive in, what we have to prioritize maybe, and where we can improve. The dredge salesperson or who participated in this wants more information on vessels, which is also good. So we know where we can focus on. The offshore customer wants to take it to his customers. We're not 100% sure whether this is really a good idea because it's more or less an internal training tool. And he should be going out to the customer, knowing everything, but at least it seems to be, he seems to be proud of using it, so which is of course positive for us. Inland waterway, he really liked the course and the content. Cargo as well, and ferry. Actually, that was a good comment, or interesting comment as well, because we had as a success story one of the projects where we have with a customer that we had not known before. I mean, of course, we knew Stena, but we had not, we didn't have them as a customer. So that was a good comment, because now we, it seemed to be, it was important for us, and that all of our salespeople shared the same impression. That is very, very good. The pleasure craft, he or she learned more, which is also good. Government is also sometimes a bit a segment where we are not very strong in, so it is actually good to get this positive feedback. And for cruise is an interesting segment as well. It's very posh, so it's interesting to have the good comments here. And thank you. Oh, you wanted to say?
Oh, no, I just wanted to say thank you, Gretchen, thank you, Tom. Does anybody have any questions? I think if you don't, I mean, we'll be here for a few minutes. If you have any questions, come up, or we'll be on the Kineo stand, which I think is stand 27, if you have any questions or want to find out anything else about the Totara. Thank you very much.